So I recently spoke to a guy who is using dating apps as his main and mostly only way of meeting women, and he was telling me that even though he's not fully satisfied 10 out of 10, it's still pretty good. He's going on dates, he's having some form of adventures, and I asked him, well, do you ever do real life approaches? Have you ever met someone in real life just by approaching them and just by going up to them? And he said, no, I don't do that. It's not something that fits with my personality and I don't really have time for it. Then I spoke to another guy a few days after who is very social. He has decent social skills, he's very friendly, and he's going to a lot of parties, he's a lot of friends, and he's mostly dating women that way. And again, this guy has better than average dating life. He's not maybe fully satisfied, but still is good enough. He says that it's good enough. And then I asked him, well, have you ever tried real life approaches? And again, he said, yeah, that's kind of weird because he only likes to approach women with a context. When you approach women without a context, for him, it just feels unnatural and it feels sort of weird. Now, obviously, you know that I'm a huge proponent of real life approaches, but if you would ask me, hey, do you think these guys should do real life approaches to improve their dating life? My answer to be, there's actually two answers, right? Like on one hand, you could say, well, not really, because their dating lives are sort of okay. They are doing relatively decent, so why should they try to fix what's not really broken? But here's the real truth. You don't necessarily need to do real life approaches, but you need to be able to do real life approaches. And that's a huge difference, and here's what I mean. Life is mostly about fulfilling your potential, right? I think you would agree, for most people, most men, they would agree that they want to fulfill their potential. And one of the ways to fulfill your potential is to be the best version of yourself and to get rid of your insecurities. Now, if you're not getting rid of your insecurities, then you will never fulfill your potential. And I think this is a premise we can both agree on. Now, for these two guys, why are they truly not meeting women in real life? Well, because they have some form of social anxiety. They have some form of fear of rejection, fear of failure. And they might tell you, yeah, it's because I'm busy or I just think it's weird. But in reality, it's just a fear of rejection. It's a fear of failure. Now, if they continue living with this fear of failure and fear of rejection, even though they might have above average dating lives, well, first of all, they'll never have truly top of the top dating lives, that's for sure. But the second and most important thing is that there will always be a mediocre version of themselves because they haven't really mastered their own self and they haven't gotten rid of fear of rejection, fear of failure. And you can only do this by going outside your comfort zone and doing what scares you. And this is why I find real life approaches so beautiful, because not only you can get an amazing dating life, but you can also just fix your insecurities. And again, you don't necessarily need to do cold approaches and real life approaches all the time, and you might not even need to do them just to improve your dating life. Maybe you're already having amazing dates from dating apps. If you're one of those few select men that have good looks and good photos, maybe you can do it, or maybe you have a lot of friends and you can do it that way. But if you are not able to do real life approaches, that is a big minus. That's a big chink in your armor. If you cannot do them, then it's probably because of some sort of insecurity that you have or some sort of inability that you have. Maybe you don't have good enough social skills. Maybe you are afraid that women will just crush your ego, and maybe your ego is too big. Either way, you are not really fulfilling your own potential. So again, you might not need to do this for the sake of getting dates, but you need to be able to do this. So that's a huge difference. And if you let your fear or if you let your insecurities sort of retain, then you will never achieve your true potential in dating life, in work life, and just as a human being and as a man. For me personally, the reason that I kept doing this for such a long time is because it's honestly one of the best ways, if not the best way, to get rid of the biggest insecurities you can have as a guy. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, not knowing what to say when you talk to people, just improving your social skills in general, being in uncomfortable situations, just going for things when you see them. So hope this video was helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.